Imagine digging through your old coin collection, and suddenly you spot a state quarter that looks a little different. Maybe it has a small minting flaw, a deeper strike, or a slight misalignment. At first, it seems like any other coin, but what if I told you that tiny detail could turn it into a six-figure jackpot? Yes, some of these ordinary-looking state quarters have been auctioned for mind-blowing amounts, shocking even the most experienced collectors. And today, we're counting down the top 5 most valuable state quarters ever found. Each one has a unique story, an incredible value, and a reason why collectors are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their hands on them. And trust me, you won't believe the value of the coin on this list. So grab your loose change, sit tight, and let's dive into these hidden treasures. All right, let's kick off this incredible countdown with a 1999 Connecticut State Quarter, a coin that, at first glance, seems like just another piece of pocket change. But let me tell you, this one has left collectors absolutely speechless. Why? Because in rare conditions and with key minting errors, this little quarter has commanded prices north of $500,000. Now, before we get into that jaw-dropping number, let's take a closer look at what makes this coin special. Released in 1999 as part of the 50 State Quarters program, this Connecticut quarter features the legendary Charter Oak, a tree with a story that dates back to the late 1600s. It's said that this very tree was used to hide Connecticut's royal charter from British authorities, making it a symbol of freedom and resilience. And just look at the intricate design, that detailed engraving of the oak's sprawling branches. It's one of the most visually striking quarters ever minted. But let's talk about what really matters, the shocking value. Now, most of these coins were minted in huge numbers, meaning common examples are only worth face value. But here's where things take a turn. Certain rare error coins and ultra-high-grade examples have fetched absolutely staggering amounts at auction. Imagine this. You're going through your old change, and you find a 1999 Connecticut quarter with a dramatic off-center strike, a broad strike, or even a double die error. What might look like a flaw to the average person could be a goldmine for collectors. One confirmed example with a dramatic misalignment was auctioned off for over $120,000, and that's not even the highest price recorded. But let's talk about the unicorn of all Connecticut quarters. A Mint State 69, MS69 example, which means it's in near flawless condition, was once purchased by a collector for a staggering $540,000. Why? Because finding one of these quarters in such pristine condition is almost impossible. Most quarters get scratched, dinged, and worn down in circulation. But a perfectly preserved example? That's a once-in-a-lifetime find. And here's the wild part. Many collectors believe that an MS-70 specimen, a flawless, untouched Connecticut quarter, could fetch upwards of $750,000 or even cross the $1 million mark if it ever surfaces. That's right, a single quarter worth more than a house. So next time you come across a 1999 Connecticut quarter, don't just toss it aside. Check for errors, check the condition, and who knows, you might just be holding a six-figure treasure in the palm of your hand. And speaking of valuable quarters, wait until you see what's next. The upcoming coin on this list has a shocking error that turned an ordinary 25-cent piece into an absolute fortune. Stay tuned. You won't believe this one. Next up, we have a coin that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, the 2004 Wisconsin State Quarter. At first glance, it seems like just another state quarter, featuring a cow, a wheel of cheese, and an ear of corn, symbols of Wisconsin's rich agricultural history. But this coin hides a secret so rare and so valuable that it has left collectors in utter disbelief. Most 2004 Wisconsin quarters are only worth face value, even in circulated condition. However, some of these quarters contain an extra leaf on the ear of corn, one pointing high, one pointing low, creating two separate error varieties known as the extra high leaf and extra low leaf errors. These weren't supposed to exist, yet a small number mysteriously made it into circulation. Was it a mint worker's mistake, or was it intentional? No one knows for sure. But here's the shocking part. While a standard 2004 Wisconsin quarter in pristine MS-68 condition might fetch around $3,000 to $5,000, an extra leaf error in top condition has sold for jaw-dropping amounts. In recent auctions, these error coins have commanded $30,000, $50,000, and even upwards of $150,000. And get this, one collector was willing to pay nearly $300,000 for a near-perfect example of this mysterious minting blunder. Now imagine this. You're checking your pocket change, flipping through some quarters, and suddenly you spot an extra leaf on the coin. That single mistake, that tiny detail, could turn a simple 25-cent coin into a life-changing windfall. So check your coins carefully because the next ultra-valuable quarter might already be in your hands. Moving on to the next jaw-dropping coin, we have the 2005 Kansas State Quarter. At first glance, it looks like just another quarter in your pocket change. But hold on, because this coin could be worth a life-changing fortune. Let's talk about what makes this coin so special. The Kansas Quarter was released in 2005 as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. On the reverse, you'll find a majestic American bison standing tall with sunflowers blooming beside it, both powerful symbols of the Sunflower State. The obverse, as always, features the classic portrait of George Washington. But here's where things take a shocking turn. Some of these coins carry errors so rare that collectors are willing to pay over $300,000 for a single one. One of the most famous errors on the 2005 Kansas Quarter is the "In God We Rust" mistake. That's right. Due to a minting defect, some coins are missing part of the T in trust, making it look like the coin says, "In God We Rust." Imagine the surprise of a collector stumbling upon this bizarre error. This mistake happened because of a grease-filled die, a rare occurrence that dramatically increases the coin's value. But that's not all. There are also rare off-center strikes, double die errors, and dramatic misprints that send the value soaring. A Kansas quarter with a clean "In God We Rust" error in near-perfect condition has already been auctioned for well over $300,000. Meanwhile, other high-grade, uncirculated versions of this quarter, even without errors, have fetched upwards of $50,000 to $100,000 in top-tier auctions. That's the power of condition and rarity in the coin-collecting world. Now let's talk about how you can tell if you're holding onto a jackpot. If you find a 2005 Kansas quarter in circulation, check the lettering on the obverse immediately. Look closely at the word TRUST. If it's missing part of the T, you might be looking at an ultra-rare variety. And if your coin is uncirculated with a flawless mint luster, its value could be off the charts. Imagine the thrill of digging through a jar of spare change and uncovering a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the reality for some lucky collectors who took the time to check their coins. Some of these error quarters have even been found in everyday transactions, grocery stores, vending machines, and pocket change. Yes, you heard that right. You could be unknowingly spending a six-figure fortune on your morning coffee. The Kansas quarter is a perfect example of why checking your change is more important than ever. Rare errors and high-quality specimens are still out there, waiting to be discovered, and if you find one, you could be holding on to a collector's dream that could change your life forever. Now, what's next? Stick around because the next coin we're about to uncover is even more shocking. If you thought this was rare, just wait until you hear what's coming up. Moving on to our next incredible discovery. Brace yourself, because this one might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. It's the legendary 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial quarter, a coin that was minted to commemorate America's 200th anniversary of independence. But here's the kicker. Not all bicentennial quarters are created equal. Some of these rare gems have sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auction, and if you've got the right one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. At first glance, it may seem like just another quarter, but take a closer look. The obverse features George Washington's portrait, a classic design that we all recognize. But it's the reverse that sets it apart, depicting a colonial drummer with a torch of victory above, surrounded by 13 stars representing the original colonies. This powerful design, created by Jack L. R., has captured the imagination of collectors for decades. Now let's talk about value. While most bicentennial quarters are common, there are a few rare variations that can turn an ordinary 25-cent piece into a gold mine. First, if your quarter was struck on a 40% silver planchet instead of the usual copper nickel, you've hit the jackpot. Uncirculated silver-proof versions have been known to fetch thousands of dollars, but if you find one with a dramatic mint error, such as a double die obverse, off-center strike, or a rare overstruck mint mark, you could be looking at an astronomical figure. One of these rare error bicentennial quarters has been valued at over $450,000. But wait, there's an even crazier twist. Some of these coins were accidentally struck on experimental planchets, making them even more valuable. Collectors have gone wild over these rare anomalies, driving prices sky high. If your quarter has an unusual color, weight, or sound when dropped, you might be holding a piece worth $650,000 or more. Imagine the shock of someone unknowingly spending one of these at a gas station or grocery store, never realizing they just gave away a fortune. It's happened before, and it could happen again. So before you toss that change aside, check your 1976 bicentennial quarters carefully. Your next big payday could be hiding right in your pocket. And now, get ready, because the next coin on our list is even more mind-blowing. Next up, we have a coin that might just be hiding in your pocket right now, but don't let its common appearance fool you. This 1999 Georgia State quarter could be worth an absolute fortune, and collectors are hunting for rare versions that could fetch jaw-dropping amounts at auction. Let's start with the design. The reverse of this quarter proudly displays the outline of Georgia with an elegant peach at its center, a nod to the state's nickname, the Peach State. Surrounding it are the words wisdom, justice, and moderation, Georgia's state motto, all framed by majestic oak branches. This intricate design, crafted by engraver T. James Farrell, makes it one of the most recognizable quarters in the 50-state quarters series. On the obverse, of course, we see the classic profile of George Washington, just as on every quarter since 1932. But what makes this coin so valuable? Let's talk about rarity and condition. Most of these coins were produced in massive quantities, over 900 million minted across Philadelphia and Denver, but not all of them are created equal. If you happen to have a circulated version, it's likely worth just 25 cents. But if you find one in pristine MS-68 or MS-69 condition, you're looking at a coin that could be worth $5,000 to $15,000 at auction. And then we get to the real shockers, the error coins. One of the most sought-after errors is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is visibly misaligned. These can be worth upwards of $20,000 depending on how dramatic the misalignment is. Another valuable error is the double die reverse, DDR, where elements like the peach or lettering appear doubled. Collectors will pay $30,000 or more for a dramatic doubling effect. But the Holy Grail? The experimental planchet errors. Some Georgia State quarters were accidentally struck on planchets meant for Sacagawea dollars, giving them a unique golden hue. These rare finds have been known to fetch over $100,000 at auction. Imagine stumbling across one of these in a coin roll, life-changing money in the palm of your hand. And it doesn't stop there. A proof version struck in deep cameo finish, if graded PR70, could be worth over $25,000 to a serious collector. These coins, originally minted for collectors, are some of the finest examples in existence. So the next time you come across 1999 Georgia quarter, take a closer look. A rare mint error, an exceptionally high grade, or a mysterious golden planchet could mean you're holding onto a coin worth more than your car, or even your house. Moving on, let's talk about another state quarter that could be worth even more than this one.